There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. We were having some technical difficulties on there. And it looks like my camera is still acting a little funky. All right, we're getting there. Okay, we about got it. Okay, guys, I got a few other people that are trying to watch. What we're going to do is share this link with them. Let me upload it onto my page. We had a problem with the other link. I'm not sure why it went crazy, but you know what? We make things happen. So when you got to roll with the punches. So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight is being able to adapt, make things happen. Sometimes on the fly, hopefully not on the fly. Okay. Ideally, you want things to work a little bit more smoothly. So that's what we want to have happen, but it doesn't always work that way. So we're almost there. Let's see if I can get this going. There we go. Okay, we got it. All right. Well done. Okay, guys, we are live for our Even Stronger Families webinar. I'm pretty excited about what we got going on. Hopefully, your day so far has been amazing. If not, then guess what? Now is the time to change it. I can't control what's going to happen in my day-to-day life sometimes, but I chose a long time ago. I decided a long time ago that today is going to be a great day. So we're going to go and make the best out of what we have so far today. So let's get started. We've got our main goal tonight is to leave you changed, to leave you. If you're here, it's because your family matters to you. You care about your family. You want your family to succeed. You want good things for your family. And who doesn't? Okay. If you're here, then you've gone from wanting good things to doing something to make sure it happens. I tell kids all the time in my classrooms and then my own kids and other parents that I'm coaching that to want something good for your family and for your kids is a great first step. Great first step. In fact, I was meeting with kids today all about their goals for this new school year. And I was talking to them and I asked them, I said, listen, if you want good things, that's fine. That's a good first step, but you can't stop there. What you have to do after that is you have to surround yourself with the people that can help make it happen. So the Bible says that a wise man surrounds himself with other wise men, but a fool surrounds himself with fools, and they lead to disaster. So I want to encourage you guys a little bit to take some time today, and I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to make it well worth your effort. We've got a couple things here. Before we get started, though, I'm going to write something here on the board. Let's see if we can turn you guys so you guys can see it. There we go. Good. Okay, and then what is that? Oh, that's my computer. Okay. All right, we're going to put right here. Okay. Stronger families. There are two parts, and we're going to talk about both of them. We're going to talk about over here, the foundation. You know what? I don't like it on the side. Let me fix that. So I'm going to write the word foundation. It should be on the bottom. So let's do that. Okay. Foundation. Foundation. Then we have the structure. And I'll tell you one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they look at something and they decide that the structure is the most important part because that's the only part they can see. But anybody who builds a house knows better. Anybody who builds a skyscraper knows better. The foundation must be secure, must be well established, must be prepared for exactly what it is you're getting ready to do. Take a moment and think about if you're going to make something that if you're going to make a house, I don't know if you know this or not, but your foundation has to be so big. But if you're going to make a skyscraper, your foundation has to go feet into the ground, not just inches. The reason I say that is because if you're coming tonight, you want to create a legacy. You want your family to extend beyond just your immediate family. You're thinking generations. You're thinking years for your grandkids, for their kids, for your own kids, extending beyond just the immediate, I have a problem I need to take care of today. Now, do we take care of problems today? Absolutely. Okay. We live in today. So we have to take care of today's problems. But one of the biggest mistakes I see parents make is they don't think about the foundation and how deep it goes. Because however deep the foundation goes is how far ahead and how high you can build. So let's talk. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. I got a little excited. Okay. So, okay, talked about that. Now, let me be honest with you guys. This is probably not the first time you've ever came to a class. And I want to let you know that if your kids are going crazy, okay, if you feel like you are overwhelmed and, excuse me, if you're feeling stressed out, it's not your fault. Okay, there is way too many supposed gurus out there who think that they know what they do. They get behind a camera, they get a light, and they think they're an expert. Oh my goodness, it drives me crazy. I hear experts who don't have any experience in the classroom, don't have any experience with their own kids. They have very little experience. Maybe they've had, one kid be successful. Okay, great job. But what we want to do is find things that work for all kids. Specifically, those kids who are high capacity kids, those kids who can really excel in a great way. So don't be overwhelmed. Don't be stressed out that you feel like, my goodness, I've done all these things, but nothing seems to be changing. No, you do not need to focus on just fixing your child. Okay, that's one of the biggest problems that people make is they keep trying to just fix their child. Like, so what do I do? Okay, think about, for instance, if you have a house and you have a crack in the house. Okay, I'm not a carpenter. I don't know why I have all these carpentry stories, but it just makes sense. If you have a crack in the house, okay, on the side of the house, do you know that you should not just take some paint and paint over it and say, okay, it's all done? Of course not. You have to figure out, number one, why is there a crack? And number two, I got to fix it. Now, if the crack is there because the foundation's broken, you got a bigger problem. But if the crack is there just because of wear and tear, maybe somebody pushed into it, okay, there's a reason why the crack is there. Let me tell you that. Cracks don't just appear for no reason. That's one of the biggest lies that we're going to talk about that people have bought into. Okay. So I know that what you're thinking is if you're here, then you're thinking, I want my kids, my high capacity kid to be successful. I don't want them to hit the bottom of society, to stay on the bottom rung. Okay. I hear people talk about the importance of a high minimum wage. Can I tell you, I'm not interested in my kids making minimum wage for the rest of their life. If their first job, they make a minimum wage, that's fine, but it's minimum. We don't stay there. We're going up. So that I just want to encourage you guys a little bit that the mainstream media, big companies, they want you to talk about, they want to keep you on a cycle of being uncertain for what to do with your kids. They want you to not be focused. They want you to let your children fall into their hands, their greedy little hands, so they can make money off of your kids. You know, it used to be illegal to advertise to children. Yeah, where'd that law go? Now kids are can buy using their phone or their app on accident. Mom and dad's phone. My goodness. We have no accountability for our children nowadays without us. So we're going to step up and do it. So that brings us to a single point that I want to encourage you guys. It's called, and it goes like this. Every environment is perfectly designed to produce its exact daily results. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story because I had an epiphany. When I was about 5 years old, my mother packed up my brother, my sister, and I and into our Ford Red Escort and drove away from my dad's house while he was sleeping. The day before was the worst day of my life. I remember being 5 years old in the basement of our house. Now, our house was connected to a garage, and so when the garage door opened, you could go into our basement. And so I was downstairs in our basement. It was fully furnished, but I was down there with my mom. We were watching TV, and I remember that my dad was supposed to come home, but he was late. So I was sitting down there watching TV. We had a little kitchen, one of those little kitchen plastic sets. I remember playing on it. And I hear the garage door open. And so I run over to the door that went to the garage. And my dad, when he swings the door open, picks me up, throws me around. And my mom starts yelling at him. And my mom and dad, they go upstairs and they start having a fight. And I didn't know it at the time, but my brother and sister saved my life when they didn't let me go upstairs to help save mom. And I tell you that story because I grew up in a broken home. The foundation in my house was almost non-existent. Well, it did exist, but it was crumbling. The walls might not have been physically falling apart, but they were emotionally and mentally. And so when my mom left my dad, she had no idea how to raise or create a family that had stability, much less how to set me up for success and greatness as a child. She was just trying to get survival mode. The only messages that I was ever told was to sit down, shut up, or go away and be somebody else's problem. The only words I was ever shared was kids are supposed to be seen and not heard. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so it'd be better for you to listen twice as much as you speak, which honestly is pretty good advice, but they just told me to shut up and go away anyway. You see, I didn't know it at the time, but I had the exact same desires that every child has, which is want to be loved, to want to feel important, and to want to feel safe. And I had none of that. And so when I was growing up and I gave my life to the Lord at around 20 years old, my first 20 years of my life taught me how not to do it. And so I realized when I was getting married to my wife, not long after giving my life to the Lord, that I had no idea how to raise children. I started to read books. I loved studying, so I started reading like The Strong-Willed Child. I started listening to Focus on the Family. I became a teacher and I started studying all the best practices for working with children. You see, because I grew up in my life, I had ADHD. I was undiagnosed. Nobody knew that I had those problems. I had FAS, fetal alcohol syndrome. My mom smoked and drank with me and whenever I was in her belly. You see, I was set up for failure. I was positional. My environment was successfully created to put me down. But because of the Lord and because of my desire to want to do better for my own kids, I began to search and to research and to develop. And over these past 20 years, I discovered something that changed my life forever. And I'm going to share it with you tonight. And it's my 12-point framework. It's my home framework. It's the thing that can create a stable household for you, for me, for anybody, no matter what household, no matter what house, whether you live in an apartment, whether you live in a hotel, whether you live in a car or a huge, like I do, in a huge home in California with a pool and a hot tub. Okay, whatever it is, wherever your home is, these foundations, these structural points apply. And that's what I'm going to share with you because that's whenever it was during this time as I was studying, I was applying these things. I learned that every environment is perfectly designed to produce its exact results. And the good news is I'm going to share those things with you today. And so but before I do, I want to let you know this does not come naturally to me. Okay. Learning how to run a stable home, a peaceful home, a joyful home is not natural. Every single one of these points have taken effort and work. I had to, from the chaos of my own childhood to the point where I'm working with my own kids. And my daughter, for instance, my oldest daughter, she graduated from high school and she has been given tens of thousands of dollars in scholarships and would even turn down Berkeley. Berkeley called her and asked her to come. And she turned them down. And she said, no, I feel called to go to California Baptist University, which she just returned from playing first chair viola in a Southeast Asia mission trip and in Italy. So I'm like, wow, she served, and she's doing great. I'm really proud of her and everything that she's doing. My other daughter, my youngest daughter, I don't tell you that to brag. I tell you that because I put in a work that has created a place that helps my children to succeed. It'd take more work and effort for my kids to not be successful. They've been positioned. They've been set up in such a way. Now they still have to decide. We're going to talk about that tonight. But there are certain things you can do to help your children to decide, to chase greatness, to go after what it is they really want and not sit down and to settle. You see, a child, and that exact structural plan is that exact plan is what I'm going to teach you guys tonight. So when I do that, I'm going to share that with you now. So let's do it. Okay. So first things first, let me turn you over here. All right. Let's turn, make sure we get this on here. Okay. All right. So we've got our stronger families, got our structure, foundation. We're going to go through all 12 of these points tonight. Okay. So number one, here, I'm going to see if I can be in camera a little bit. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is, first off, let's look at the foundation. We're going to take this whole thing here. Okay. I discovered this. One of the first things I discovered was that time is the most important part of your home's foundation. That is mixed with you, the person or the parents. Nothing is more important. We're going to make this into little pillars here. Than your time, who you are as a person. Then we're going to put in this right here. We're going to put in a little pillar of purpose. And this is, I'm going to put my purpose. So that's you, your purpose. And not just for your house, but your calling. That's another way you could put that. Is who are you? What is your purpose? Well, this is who are you? This is how much your purpose. And then this over here, the other foundation is your place. Now that has to do with two things. It's your space / supplies. You see, as I was growing up, I had this problem. Well, here, I'll leave it right here. We'll talk. Well, no, let's move on. We'll come back to that in a minute. I had a problem when I was in college and I graduated, and then I'm in school and I'm meeting and I'm doing some classroom management work, and I'm working in my school, and I moved to a new school. And at this new school, there's a lady there. She's a good friend of mine, and she's teaching her in her classroom. She pulls, I watch her. She's got the same kids as I do. And when the kids go into her classroom, they're sort of going crazy. They're talking to each other. They're being loud. She's trying really hard. She's working hard. They're doing okay. It's not quite horrible, but it's certainly, she's working way too hard on this. And those same kids, when they came into my class, I'd say hi to them at the door. They'd walk in. They'd take care of the work that they needed to take care of. We'd sit down, and we had peace and order. And we can do fun, crazy, silly things because the kids would listen to me. And I asked her one day, I was like, can I help you with some classroom management? And she goes, well, you can try. I don't know what I can do any different. I think classroom management is just hard. It just is what it is. I was like, well, maybe not. So I gave her a few tips. And one of the best things that happened is that summer, she began to work with me. And she said, I get it. I can see how to do this. And she goes, can you tell me exactly what to do? And I said, sure. What do I do? I didn't know what to do. You see, although I had discovered these 12 points, I had not yet discovered how to give them to someone else. You see, I knew them in my mind. I knew them in practice, but I didn't have them with my words. I was this structure. I was this purpose, but I didn't know how to deliver it. And so I went and I sat with the Lord and I said, Lord, I want to be able to help this lady with her classroom. And the Lord showed me something, and he showed me a scripture. I'm going to show it to you right now. It says in Genesis 1:1, I was praying. I said, God, help me to know what to do. And he said, here's what I'm going to do. Read the Bible. And I read the very first words of the Bible. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And I don't know if you noticed this, But here we have time, God, the person, created his purpose, the heavens and the earth. And that was what he created. I share that with you because it blew my mind. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. God said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and help her to control her time, what the kids are doing at every moment when they walk through the classroom. And I was like, wow. And then he said, then here's what I'm going to have you do. You need to start helping those kids to become better versions of themselves. I was like, whoa. And he goes, but before you do that, you need to become a better version of yourself. I was like, wow. And so I began to share those two things with her. And I realized these are the same things that I do in my own house, in my own home. And I began to share with other people at their houses, and they began to have great success. And he said, don't forget, you also need to develop your own purpose, to know what you're doing at any given time. You see, you as a person need to know what it is you're doing. For instance, one of my main purposes in my life is to be a good father to my children. And the best, most important thing I can do to help my children, but to be a good father to them, is to first be a good husband. And so that is part of my purpose, is to be a good husband and a good father. And so from there, the last thing is to control your space and your supplies. So the place where you do all of the parenting, all of the classroom work, anytime you lead children, you have to consider the foundation is, excuse me, the foundation of your home environment is your physical place. I don't care if it's a car. I don't care if it's a house, if it's a mansion, if it's an estate, if it's wherever it is that you call home, it has some sort of physical boundaries. I don't care if it's under a bridge. Okay. If you're watching the night under a bridge, that's fine. That's your bridge. We're going to learn how to take care of those things. Okay. Those 4 points are the foundation of your home and your environment. Now, let's keep going. So I was blown away. I couldn't believe all of the answers were right there in the first scripture. And so I kept going. And I said, Lord, what else is there? And he said, let me show it to you. And then he began to help me to realize that in your house, okay, and we're going to put big roof on here, okay, there are certain things that every home has, regardless of where you're from. So it doesn't matter. These principles are true for every home. And they all come from scripture. They're all, let me put it this way. They're all birthed out of scripture, confirmed in my own experience. Because these are the things that I discovered whenever I was studying my own history, the best research that was out there, as well as the scriptures, in order to give to this lady who was trying to figure out how to get order in her classroom. And so this was a systematic way that I helped her to do it. And it started in the classroom. And since there, I've taken it into the homes. And the homes are even more impactful because, well, they are just as impactful, if not more, because of because of the foundation, because of your time and who you are as a person. You have more time with your kids. You are more intimately related. We're going to talk about some of those things. Your purpose and your place. All of these things affect this structure. Let's do it. One of the very first things in here, in your house, are the children. Who walks through the door? So whenever you come home, your kids who walk into there, they're in that house. Okay. Now, parents, keep in mind, if you're married, your marriage is down here. Okay. This is all the children that walk into your house. Anybody else who walks into those rooms, your children are the number one point of structure in your house. You have to make sure that you're working with the children. Number 2 is authority. Authority means that those children are there under your authority. It is your responsibility, parents, to take care of and make sure those children are provided for. It's not their job to take care of you. It's your job to take care of them. And there are certain things that you need to make sure you understand about authority. It doesn't mean bossing them around. It doesn't mean letting them get away with whatever they want. There's a balance. There's a certain way to do things that only can happen and only can be produced by you, the parent, as the person in charge of this place because of your purpose and the time you've been given with them. You see how that all ties in together? You are the one in authority relationship. Then you have communication. Communication is a big word. That just means what are the words you use? The words used in your household, I can tell right now what kind of household you have, what kind of home you have based on the words that are used in your home. Can I tell you 3 of the most powerful words? I'm going to give you a little free advice that your grandma already told you. Please, thank you, you're welcome. Can I tell you that if you're not using manner words in your own home, you need to. Well, I'm the boss, I'm the dad, I'm the mom. I tell them what to do and they better just do it. Listen, yeah, it's expected but appreciated. Manners, if you're should be modeled. So there's communication. So authority, communication, children. And by the way, the next one, okay, is purpose for children. So I'm going to put child's purpose. This right here for for children, most of the time, their purpose is learning. Children don't come into this world knowing how to do anything. Okay, they know how to eat, sleep, and poop. And sometimes they'll fight you on all 3 of them. Okay, but their purpose is to learn. Now, that is different than your purpose. Your purpose is to teach, to model, to provide authority. You have lots of different purposes, and don't get them confused. Your purpose and your child's purpose might overlap, but they don't look the same. Oh, that's so good. Hopefully you're getting this. So far, we still have a few more things. Over here, we're going to put boundaries. Yeah, I'm going to put them down here. Boundaries. That's a big one. Okay. You are the one who has to establish boundaries in your home. No one else is coming along to do it. If you don't set boundaries, another great word for boundaries is expectations. What do you expect? What do your children look to you? Let me put it this way. Your children need you to set expectations, high expectations for them. If you expect them to do great, you have to do that. Boundaries, expectations, this far and no further. Or at least this far. Let's go. Boundaries. Next one are relationships. Now, the Lord, I was really hesitant. I didn't understand this for a long time. Relationships and authority are different because you are not your children's friends unless you are first their authority. You see, one of the greatest blessings in life is to have your children be your friend. But you can't do it if they're back talking to you, talking bad about you, stealing from you. If you haven't established your authority in the relationship, then you can't have a friendship in the relationship. Oh. Now these relationships all have to do with on the same level, like peer-to-peer relationships. Okay, you brothers and sisters, your sibling relationships, your friendships, that's huge. Okay, not yours, but the children's relationships. That's what we're talking about here. What relationships are you allowing and permitting and encouraging in the household for those children? These are the things we see. Okay, then we have 2 more things. We have our problems. Okay, and I like to think about problems, and I'm going to put victories. Okay, and the reason I put both of these on the top is because these are the things that everybody else sees. This is your roof, okay? This is the outside of your house. Okay, these are the walls on the outside that people do see. Okay, when they look over at your family, they normally see 1 of 2 things. They see the problems you're going through, or they see the victories that you're celebrating. So both of those have a point that they're a little bit more visible to everyone else, okay? These things are on the inside. Okay, you as a family, you notice those things. These things are on the bottom. Nobody sees those. Nobody talks about those until things are falling apart. When this is off, everything else is broken and can collapse. If once these things are stable, then these things begin to flow smoothly, and you have now crossed over into the opportunity of setting your kids up for great success. That is what we are here to do. I want you, and I'm sure that you want to have as much understanding of these 12 points as you possibly can so that you can set your children up for success today and every day moving forward. So let's talk about it. One of the things that you can do to set yourself up for good success is, number one, realize you don't have to overdo it. Okay, so let's dive into one of these things. I'm going to share with you a little bit of who you are as a person. Okay, I'm going to set you up for success right now. So, because you might be thinking to yourself, well, that sounds great, Andrew. The 12 points, yeah, but that's a whole lot to do. That's too much. I can't possibly do that. Okay, I don't have enough time in my day. Okay, I don't have enough energy in my body. I don't have enough space in my mental capacity to take care of all of those things, which makes sense. Until you realize that, let me tell you a story. My daughter, when she was 8 years old, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It was a problem that came our way that we did not know about. There's only two kinds of problems in life, and one of those are the problems you can't prepare for. They're the things that you didn't see coming. And so whenever our daughter started to lose weight rapidly, and we started to notice a little bit of a smell, like it was like a sugary sweet smell. We're like, uh-oh, what's going on? She started to look a little bit sickly, and we weren't sure exactly why. We started to realize, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And so my wife came to me and says, honey, I think that she might have type 1 diabetes. She might have diabetes. I was like, no, she don't have that. She's fine. I'm positive optimistic, which sometimes means I stick my head in the sand and just hope. Okay. One of the worst drugs any person can ever take is something called hopium. It's whenever you hope things will work out by being blind to the idea. Okay. I see that happen a lot too. People just hope things work out. No, that's not the way God does it. It's not the way I do it. It's not the way you do it if you want true success. No one wakes up a champion one day just by accident. Well, man, I'm surprised that happened. No, said no champion ever. Instead, she said it to me a couple more times. And then I noticed this is a very specific sign where there was, and I don't know if you guys know this, kind of gross, but there's mold on the toilet seat, which is a sign of sugary stool. And I was like, gross. I was like, what is that? And when I looked it up and I saw that, I said, oh no, we got to take her in. So we took her to the doctor. And on that day, we found out she had type 1 diabetes, and she cried. And she said, Dad, why? And I knew there was no good answer. And I just held her and let her cry. And I said, I don't know, but I'm here for you. You see, because we had a stable household, because our foundation was secure, because these 12 points were engaged in our house, we were able to withstand the problems that came our way that we didn't know were coming. You see, you don't have enough time not to put into this effort. You don't have enough time to waste. You don't have another day to waste to put in the work and the effort for these things. If your kids are already are older, so be it. Start today. I heard somebody say one time, the best time to plant an apple tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Okay. If you feel like, man, I just don't I've missed too much time. No, you haven't. Let's start today. We can make it happen. And so my daughter now is graduated from high school. She plays trumpet. She was in the band. But the thing I'm most proud of her for, at least one of the things, is that she is going into the medical field to become a pediatric endocrinologist, which, if you don't know what that is, it's the doctor that told her she had type 1 diabetes. She asked that doctor and said, do you know what it's like to have to do this? He said, no, I don't. And so she decided that she would be the doctor that says, yes, I do. And she'd pull up her shirt to a little boy at 8 years old and say, yes, I know what it's like. And so she's going to fight back against that disease. And I'm excited. She might even one day find a cure for it. So I'm excited for her to take what the devil meant for bad, to take a mess and turn it into a message. And so we're going to take bad things and turn it around for good, for us and for others. That's a legacy I can be proud of. That's something that what dollar amount can I put on that? Okay. But if I tell somebody, hey man, this is going to cost you $50,000, people are like, oh, that's way too much money. Man, you can make that back in one scholarship. People freak out. Oh, man, that's way too much. Then you know what? Fight on your own and let's see what happens. I don't want that for you. Okay. I want to make sure things happen smoothly and appropriately. Okay. So let's say that you might be like, okay, you know what? That sounds great. The 12 points sound great. I figure you can really help me with that. And you know what? I can do it. I have to do it. It's so important to me. But what about the society that's out there? What about the fact that, hey, my classroom, my kids' classrooms are crazy. My family's crazy. What about the fact that all of my parents are all in my life and my spouse isn't on board? And you have all of these reasons why it won't work for you. Why these 12 points? Why this legacy inspection that I'm going to offer to you here shortly in less than 20 minutes. I'm going to offer you, it won't work for you. Well, let me tell you something. If you ever heard of a greenhouse? Obviously, they take when I was in 8th grade, we had a science teacher and he loved, his name was Mr. Hayes. Hey, Mr. Hayes. He loved his greenhouse. He would take us outside and we would go into the greenhouse, shut the door, and we would help to take care of the plants that were in there. Now, I was never allowed to go out there. Other kids were who did good in school. I was a little brat. But I did go every now and then, and I realized that the environment in the in the greenhouse, was the only environment anybody had to worry about. You see, you can't control the weather, but you can hold an umbrella. When you set up a greenhouse, you are controlling the inside of that environment in pristine condition for the exact purpose over time for those plants that are in there. And if you know how to properly use the resources that you have, then you don't need to worry about everything else outside of your control. This is one of the greatest gifts that we have as people, is we have that opportunity to control our environment. Now, people are always like, well, you can't control everything. No, but that doesn't give us an excuse not to control anything. I wasn't expecting my daughter to have type 1 diabetes, but when it came at me, we were ready. And so no matter what comes at you, whatever situations come at you, you can be ready because you can be in control of the greenhouse. The same thing is true for a clean room. If you didn't know, if you've ever heard of a clean room, they build all sorts of mechanical computer chips, and they take those and they put them, but they can't have any dirt at all in the room. And so they have to build it out and clean it out entirely. And they do that. They don't worry about controlling the whole world. They don't control about we're in the whole factory. It's just one room. Your home can be the clean room for your family. Your home can be the greenhouse. What was that called? I forget what it's called. Okay. The Mr. Hayes's classroom. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, your house can be the separated environment that is safe because you are in charge of it. Okay. The way we do that is simple. It's through a legacy inspection. Okay. One of the most important things you can do is go through each of those bullet points. I have it already put together. If you want to take the time and to go look up and take the years that it took me, 20 years of working literally in thousands of kids and hundreds of classrooms over the past 20 years. I've got my master's degree in education. I work with kids regularly. Still to this day, I have a classroom that I teach, and I've worked in churches. I've been a coach. I've worked with youth pastors. I know all of these 12 points and what works. I've done the work. You don't have to. And what happens is I'm going to take 6 weeks and go over with you through a legacy inspection. And what I'm going to do is go through each one of those points. I'm going to give you work to do. I'm going to work with you one-on-one or in small group cohort. And if you want to be a part of that, here's what you can do. I have just sent you a link via email when you registered for this webinar. And I'm going to take, if you're open to it, I'm going to take 15 minutes and share with you all about the legacy inspection. Excuse me. If you feel like you want to put it all together, go ahead. I gave you the 12-point framework. You know what to do. Dive into those things. There's nothing more important than those things. But if you want to work with me in a small group and other parents just like you who have high capacity kids, who can reach great heights, and you want to set them up for success so that they can reach levels that you never did for you and your family for generations to come, and that you could be the one either to add to your family's legacy or to change it forever, then meet with me in an email link that I just sent you right now. It should be in there. It says, I sent it to it via email, and it is called the Legacy Framework. It should be from my email and hopefully you guys have that. So you should have that right now. It was sent out at 6:30. If you are with me live on the live stream, I have a link I will send you right now as well. You're welcome to come join me here, and I will pull it up. So let's do that now. Okay, guys, here we go. I have that link. I'm sending it to you now in the chat. I will see you there. Other than that, guys, hopefully you had a good night. Remember, God loves you. Be blessed.